Hey, it has been a while, so please be a little gracious with me as I get warmed up, learn how to get back in the saddle here. Um, so I just completely skipped one talk session, whatever you want to call it, and I'll explain why a little later on once I find my groove. And postponed last week's till today just because part of me was expecting the angel of death to come introduce himself. I felt awful. I think it was food poisoning or something. Just since we're friends and, well, yeah, just since we're friends, we can talk honest. I think I had, which also, anyway, I was going on a fast and then I had some opportunities to just eat and eat and eat really fatty, heavy, greasy food. And it did me wrong. I think that was just terrible. That was just a rough few days. And then I was starting to get all better. And I was like, yeah, I can push myself again. And I couldn't. I ended up just relapsing and going back to feeling like crap for a while. And just like always, I could always find where God was trying to set me straight. And I was like, no, I got this. It's cool. It's cool. Every time. You'd think I would eventually learn. Anyway, the last time I've been on here was 5 weeks ago. And I was being a good little Christian, doing my thing with just going and spending time with him, praying, and just having chats with God, doing all the right stuff. And then at the time, I remember I didn't think anything of it because it didn't make any sense. But God's like, hey, you're about to find out what you're made of. And I said, yeah, okay, whatever. This would be a good time. And then, like, it seemed like God just kind of started tapering off. Like I could even tell last time I was on here, I was just sort of grasping at straws, trying to make something happen. It was just miserable. And then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then old friends, just kind of people that just sort of became acquaintances over time. You know, you just check in every once in a while and call it good. Hey, how you doing? And some of them started popping up. And I was having a hard enough time because I was just, I felt like I was starting to go blind. Like I was just losing track of God somewhere. And I didn't know how to fix it or how to find him or how to hear him or anything. I just felt like I had no lifeline. And it was awful. It really was. And so here I was trying to just be cool and keep it together. And then all these people start trying to bring up, well, hey, how was this time in your life that we know you don't like? I just, again, since we're all friends, I just don't really like the holidays, to be honest. What an unchristian thing to say, I know. Torches and pitchforks, everybody. I also like dark colors instead of pastel. How unchristian is that, especially around Easter? Anyway, I just, holidays. Just traditionally been a hard time. I was doing all right, and then all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, I just bottomed out. And then these people just kind of started coming out of the woodwork, these acquaintances. They're like, oh, hey, how are your holidays? Well, I don't really want to talk about it. Well, why not? Let me psychoanalyze you because we're friends. So I just kind of drew a line in the sand with some of these people. I said, I don't like talking about it because there's really nothing about it that benefits me. I don't like being reminded that I'm half a country away from everybody I grew up with. You know, I mean, that's just something that's harder and harder to blow off during the holidays. And I just assume skip them. And then I kept going like that just to make a point, because I like to be clear. God forbid I get misunderstood. And just like clockwork, man, these people were like, "You're a robot. You just want to be emotionless. Well, good job. You're succeeding." And usually I've heard that before. Most of the time I can blow it off. But for a long time, I felt like one of those inflated punching bags. You can punch them down and then they just get right back up. But since I just lost track of God, I did not really know how to get back up. I was just taking stuff from people and not knowing what to do with it. I just felt lost. And it sucked so bad. And then started trying to deal with these issues with other people. I didn't know how to bring them up with God. It felt like I was just talking to a wall. I mean, it felt like that for a long time. And so I was just kind of grasping at straws, man, trying to just deal with it somehow, because it really just cut deep that time. I didn't know how to bounce back, not without God helping me out. So I started trying to reach out to some of my other friends, and of course the bottom dropped out on all that stuff, and then it just made everything worse. And then finally I said, just piss on all you guys. I'm just going to go deal with it myself. I'm going to go stand in a corner till I don't hate life anymore. Of course, I had to go to work and stuff, but whatever. And man, I felt like I had no lifeline. I just felt like I was out in space with one of those oxygen lines, just kind of floating, hoping something changes soon. And man, it was just, I just was lost. Most unpleasant time in recent memory. So finally I started getting over myself, trying to just do whatever I could to make something happen. Just didn't feel like I was getting anywhere, and didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And finally I was just like, I'm just going to fast until I don't hate myself anymore. So I did. Cold turkey. Usually that's something you can psych up for, but I was like, this is so stupid. I'm just going to stop eating until something breaks, because I don't know what else to do. And I didn't. I didn't know what else to do. So, cold turkey, man, just like that. I just didn't know how long it was going to go. Didn't know anything. I just knew one day to the next, hey, I still wake up and don't like anything. Guess I'll keep not eating. So then stuff kind of started to break. Not enough, though. And then after a while, one day, I just started getting so bored. I was like, I got to do something, just because sitting here is just stupid. So, of course, I ate something. It was way too early to break the fast, but whatever, it was my fast, not your rules. But then I just tried to turn it into more of I was doing every other day for a while, and then that was when I just gorged and sent myself into a downward spiral of fat and lard and grease before I really had my stomach back, And then I just put fasting off for a while, because I couldn't barely even function at work. I was just fighting off nausea and dizziness. It was like a perpetual hangover that I just couldn't kick. And so I quit fasting just to get through that, because I didn't want to push myself more when my body was trying to just fix itself after I'd run it through the gauntlet. So then finally God starts showing up a little bit. I'm like, what happened? This just got stupid so fast. I mean, what could I have changed? God, what do I need to fix? What? I never want to deal with this again. Seriously, tell me what to do, man. As long as I know I don't gotta do this, go through this again, man, it's consider it done. And then he started talking to me about transformation and pointing out the times before when he was throwing hints about it at me. Stuff like, you're going to find out what you're made of. And I used to think that was going to be a good thing. All right, yeah, let's see how much I've grown. All right. So I was just going over all that stuff with him, just a recap of how fast I fell apart. And he's like, son, that's not transformation. You were just taking me for granted in a way, just treating me like an object. You were just getting a fix. There was nothing really changing, nothing transformative about it. It was just something to help you get through that day, get started on the next, get some time with me, get through that day, get into the next. It was just a habit. It was turned into a routine. I mean, yeah, you were getting stuff out of it, but it was not really long-term permanent transformation. It was just a fix. Just sit there hearing about taking God for granted from God. Of course, he's being such a good sport about it. I just felt like crap. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it didn't feel like it really lift my spirits. Didn't feel like I could crack much of a smile without that God fix. When there's really so much more to it than that. And that's what I want. God knows it. That's why it left me with myself for a few weeks. So I know not to be satisfied with that. That was just miserable. I was just, just to see how irrefutable I was just treating God like a drug. Oh, man. Felt like garbage. It's like, God, the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm sitting here just taking you for granted, just using you, and you're letting me for a while. It's just, how did this even start? How do I fix this? How do I change this? How do I make it so whatever you're trying to get across to me just gets settled, just becomes something permanent? How do I make that happen? Because I don't want to have relapses. Not like that. Not like anything. So how do I make this happen? God, what do I need to do? And the reason I just completely straight up canceled one of these talks was just because I didn't feel like I had a lifeline at all. Just blindly groping around looking for something to hold on to. I couldn't find it. And instead of just get on here and run off at the mouth wasting everybody's time, I was like, may as well just save some time and go back to brooding for a while till I can figure something out. And God's been talking to me a lot about just being open with people. That is the next thing with me. Because when I open up, it's usually very, 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 very deliberate. You just got it down to routine, a science. And that's not how I see Jesus as being. That's not what I read about. Same with Paul. And it's something I've gone back and forth with about God for quite a while. And going back to before all this went down, there's been things he was telling me to do. He told me to write a letter to somebody that's not even a Christian, explaining how certain things have just changed my life. Certain things that they had an influence in have just made such a remarkable difference in my life. Talks about money because that's their language. But it's about opening up without them opening up. It's something that's difficult for me. Like I know when God's pushing me to just be a wrecking ball for something. So I just do my best to take a deep breath and just let it happen. So what if it involves people hurling insults and screaming and just throwing fits and accosting me? When I know it's God, what do you do? God, I want to serve you, but only in my choice ventures, not how you think I should. But I want to serve you because that's how service looks like. And another time, somebody else that has just been so completely instrumental. Their life is just tanked. God's telling me to just start gentle, start easy, start soft, start slow, start nice, with giving them the truth they've been running from for years and years and years now. God tells me stuff like that, and I push back because I don't want to just, well, yeah, it sounds like a good thing, but if it ain't God, you push back a little bit, make sure. Then God pushes back too. So I'll push back a little bit more just to make sure this is God. And then I was kind of stalling, and like as far as talking to the one guy whose life tanked, yeah, I was kind of stalling because it's not something I was looking forward to. Dude, this guy's seen me through thick and thin, and has probably forgotten more about God than I know. And I come by and correct him. Man, I better make sure all my P's and Q's are aligned. And I was trying, but it was still not something I was looking forward to. Not with that guy. And then as far as writing the letter to the first person, I was just kind of waiting. As far as in the past, I would just keep praying, just mulling over it with God, spending a little bit of time with it, just marinating it, not doing anything real aggressive to go forward, just thinking on it. Turns out that was not the ideal approach. Inspiration never struck because I was supposed to go find it. It was not supposed to be a passive thing on my part this time. It's one of those things I just needed to sit down and hack out. So those little things that pushed me away from God, and the rest of it just it was just an anchor to just keep me away from God. These people you're just a robot. I'm just trying to keep my emotions in check till I know how to deal with them. Just because I don't want to be a slave to them. That means I'm a robot just because I don't vacillate as broadly as you do, just because I'm not a loose cannon like you. Whatever. I'd rather keep them in check just till I know how to baptize them. Still working on keeping my temper in check. If we're going to just be honest, God forbid you think I got something going for myself. Anyway, so I just start going over what went wrong between me and God and how to rectify it. And just that openness, just with those two people, would be a big start. Because I turned into such a science man that my life almost became a dichotomy. Like I got the God me and then the everything else me. Not that I can't talk about God with people, with everything else. I'm really firm about what I believe, but I'm not vocal about it. If I see an opportunity to bring it up without just shoving it down people's throats, yeah, I'm going to take it. But I don't run around like I'm one of those CrossFit people where everybody knows in the first 90 seconds of talking to me. That openness has just been hard for me. Look, I ain't trying to make excuses. I'm just telling you how I got to where I'm at. I don't need to be corrected or chastised or whatever. You think I haven't gone over that with God already? Plenty of times. Just trying to be human. Not put myself out there for a slap on the wrist from other people in the same boat. They're in denial about being in the same boat. You feel me? I just got so tired of not just church people trying to bring me under their wing and mentor me and disciple me and improve me for God so they can put a notch on their belt. I got tired of that. I got tired of hearing from God, not being confident that I was hearing from God, and bringing it up with people I respected, thinking they could hear God, and them just bringing me down, telling me I wasn't hearing God because it didn't agree with their short-sighted emotional doctrine. Got tired of that. Tried to open it up with people like that. Got shut down. I was like, you know what? Turns out God was right the whole time. So you suck, and we're done talking. Not really the best approach, but you know, when somebody's learning how to walk, you don't put a bunch of crap in their way. So I just took all the crap out of my way. I never really put any of it back to learn how to do better. And that's where I'm at with God now. Just learning how to swallow hard and open up no matter what. Learning how to really, truly, thoroughly, completely find my security in God. Whether I'm comfortable opening up about myself or not, or about God or about whatever else. I mean, man, as far as I'm concerned, getting into a discussion with church people is like pulling teeth. Only the teeth grow back because you have the discussion again and again and again. And that is one of my nightmares. It's just like talking to a brick wall with a mouth and pride. It's like, dude, you don't even really want to concede the chance that you're wrong. And you care so much more about politics than people coming to know God that you'll burn bridges in the name of your own political agenda for people that might disagree with you and then just write you off as being an idiot. Yeah, a great way to reach out to people on God's terms and not your own. Man. But even just doing my best to open up to this guy whose life's tanked. Man, known him since I was a wee lad. And he was one of my mainstays when I needed it. Just thinking about him reacting negatively when I come up to him with something that I just really, truly, genuinely, sincerely believe God told me to tell him. Trying to do it as nicely as possible. And then he just gets all fiery with me. Man, I hate being in a position where I'm playing out scenarios in my head before they happen, because that just makes it harder for God to get stuff across. That is just, that's what I've been choking on, just to be honest. He's seen me through the really, 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 really low downs in my life. So he'd know how to stab me right in the back and twist the knife. And God doesn't really care. Not enough to excuse me from what I got to do, from what he's wanting me to do. God, I want to serve you, but this is uncomfortable, so next. Yeah, that only works for a little while. A very little while. I know the biggest thing, just for me right now, that's holding me back from where I want to be with God, or at least closer to it, really is just that openness with people. I had it down to such a science that now that all that time hiding from it, trying to make a formula out of it, it's doing nothing but weighing me down. And then it's just a complete, absolute lack of trust in God holding up his end of the bargain and keeping me standing, keeping me upright, being my safety and my security, my strength. I'm breaking it down into situations when that's not at all what he did. It's not a pick and choose thing for him. He's there through it all. And I'm looking at situations. Is God going to be there for me in this one? I think he is, but man, this one's going to hurt. This one might hurt. Looking at it on paper, I really do know so much better than that. Putting it into practice, being on the undertaking side of it, put some color on it that you don't see when you look at it on paper. It's always a little different. But I guess that's one thing that keeps, well, that's a good solid encouragement for staying close to God, for not turning things into formulas. I really did just get so sick of myself and that just not having any answers at all. It's like, I'm just going to quit eating. That's it. That's how I'm going to fix this. God, I don't even know if I want to pray. I'm just going to quit eating. Something's going to break. And I don't even care if it's my temper at this point. I was a mess. And I let myself get there. Every single time I've been able to just backtrack my steps with God and see what I could have done different, instead of just jumping the gun and blaming everything on God for abandoning me and boo-hoo. And I'm the victim here, and God's the one that did me wrong. And well, yeah, I read the Bible. Why? Stupid. Anyway, that's what's up. So that's about where I'm at. I don't think I got much else to say. I think I have been transparent enough for one go around. Anyway, hope this helps somebody besides me. Yeah. So, we're back on track. Back to a regular schedule. Yeah, hopefully I'll be in even better shape next time than this time, because I can still see some room for improvement. Yeah, yeah. No more rabbit trails. I'm done now. All right. Love you guys and peace.